Hey, welcome to the Best Overall Show. I'm Noah. Say hello, Joe.
Hello.
Oh, you didn't say hello, Joe.
Oh, hello, Joe. Sorry.
Say hello,
I
Cass.
was on two
Hello,
screens
Cass.
at once and got really disoriented.
I don't know why I like the dorky intro so much.
You
Welcome.
are the ultimate dad, my friend.
I'm very
We love you for it. We love you.
very badly. All right, man. All right, Joe, take it away.
Welcome to the BO show.
That's not what we should call it. Can we need to definitely invest. I've been telling everyone that we need to invest in actual overalls.
Yeah, I was going to say,
overalls that are branded with Best Overall Show, because I would wear those. I've been long thinking that wearing overalls to 40K events is probably the right move. They have pockets and a bib, and then you don't have to wear a belt.
That could even replace my belt of battle. It could be my overalls of battle.
Yeah, dude.
Overalls.
And you can also drop straight to you just put basketball shorts underneath. You could go straight to basketball shorts when it gets out. Just pop a strap. And they just drop to your knees.
Are we getting the ones with the little fanny buttons on the back for,
No. No, we don't need. We're gamers. I think we have consistency to down.
You're just in the middle of the game and someone comes up behind you and just rips your fanny buttons out.
I have not had to have a pretty emergency bathroom break in the middle of a game in a tournament before. That
sure. So if we do that, then we have to we're gonna embroider on the fanny flap drop pod.
Oh, got him.
What's that famous massacre from 30K?
Drop site massacre.
The drop site massacre from 30K.
There you go.
Spawn 5 or whatever.
There it is. There it is.
Oh no. Oh no. All right. What are we doing, Joe? What's the
what we got going on for Hobby Progress? Also, this is our first official show on our own channel, so we should point that out real quick.
Yeah.
This is wild.
Very, very worthy of celebration.
Much learning.
Much learning. So, please, if anyone has feedback as we're going along, don't hesitate to give it to us. We're very open to it. We are crawling, then walking, then running. So, help us out.
Yeah. All right. Noah, you're up here. What do we got going on?
Ooh, okay. So, and we'll talk about this a little bit in one of the things we're going to talk about, but I've been doing a bunch of different stuff lately. And so this was, I was been jokingly calling it the Salamander's Dorm. So this is some terrain for Cascade Clash. We had a bunch of terrain that we printed up specifically so that we can create a very good competitive experience, but also lots of physical uniqueness so that every table can look unique and interesting while still providing a unified competitive experience. For everyone that's played on the FLG Necron table at an event, you know what I'm talking about. So I painted this up. I did a bright green and then kind of a lava motif for where all the melty bits are. It was cool. I did the entire thing with Artist Opus dry brushes from beginning to end. Other than the white.
What's special about Artist Opus? I've never.
Oh, it's cool. So to be fair, I'm going to point out Donald Plummer, who called me out on this. It's probably a better use of Artist Opus brushes on models, not large swaths of terrain, because of how much surface area and intensive it is. However, Artist Opus are the one of 2 or 3, and they were definitely the first commercially available versions of dry brushes that use what I call moist brushing. It's essentially the makeup brush style. So these are circular, rounded, padded, a pad style brush, not a flat style dry brush. And the idea is you get it just a little bit moist. So you take the back of the brush, dip the handle in water, tap a little of the water onto, just like this. Tap a little of the water onto a piece of foam. And then the foam is your water pot. You go back to it to moisten the brush just a little bit. And then other than that, you dry brush just like you normally would. But what the tiny bit of moisture does is it removes the chalky appearance. So while this looks dry brushed in many or airbrushed in many areas, the entire thing was done with makeup style dry brushes from beginning to end.
Yeah, and there's a few companies that make them. Artist Opus makes probably the highest quality.
There are also the people who like popularized it.
Yeah, but I mean, the Army Painter is
the Army Painter was great. I have a weapons.
And honestly, like I have definitely stolen some actual makeup brushes from the girlfriend.
Oh yeah, dude! I will go to Rite Aid and buy a whole pack of makeup brushes. If you haven't dry brushed with makeup brushes, you're missing something in your life. Trust me, dude, it's great.
Oh, no, I just use them to dust models off.
Cool. And then you can see my makeshift paint pot I've been using is one of my empty medication bottles is what I've been using as my ongoing paint pot.
Oh, nice. That is quite the carrying case. I've never seen a paint carrying case before.
Oh yeah, dude, that's the Evo, right? So that's the got it from Monument Hobbies, right? Yeah. And it's cool. It fits I have the top 30 paints that I would want to use in it. I have some openings still, but then in the back it fits a folding light, as well as my wet palette, and then I also in my case for dry brushes. And on the inside, I've got a little brush bag inside, as well as a little storage area underneath the paint area. I've got a painting cup, like a water cup that I should use that clips onto the outside. It's got a carrying strap. It all zips up, and that dry palette folds in under 2 flaps that fold closed. And it's got a bunch of carrying space. It's super cool. And I basically use it almost as my primary hobby space lately, because if I'm watching movies with the kids or whatever, I can just literally just slam it down anywhere, and I'm not going to get the table messy or whatever.
Nice.
It's amazing. It was it was a Christmas present. It was amazing. I think we have other pictures, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So more of the lava. I think it turned out really well.
Yeah. This is quite the apocalyptic disaster that has happened to this place. Yeah,
man. I feel like the salamanders just had too much whatever the salamander equivalent of meowed is, and just got really trashed, and then just set the place on fire. We're gonna probably put it on we have a lava table mat, and we're probably gonna place this as an outpost on the lava table mat.
Yeah, cool.
It's interesting hearing that it's more or less dry brush, because if you squint real hard, you can see the striations from it being 3D printed, but it doesn't pick up as poorly as I've seen some 3D print. It doesn't look as dry brushed as one might expect.
No,
it's impressive. It's the wet brush.
It is the wet brushing. Also, I do cheat a little, and I do cheat if I find an area that is excessively problematic. I will actually go back and glaze a little. I didn't have to do very much on here, but there's sometimes what you get, especially the complication, is if you base coat in white, you'll get a lot of things where white will show up in cracks, especially when you're dry brushing. So I did do a little bit of glazing and stuff in certain areas just to make sure that it had a holistic look. But for the most part, the other trick is I do my dry brushing incredibly fast, and I try to do all the areas that need to blend. So I do it a little different. They usually teach you start at the brightest color and work down. So you paint, you undercoat, and then you go for the brightest colors and work downward. And you have already put your basic shadows in place, right? You have your shadow colors in place, and then you dry brush down. What I do is actually just go white on the top, and then the brightest part to the first quarter, and then I go on the bottom and I do all the darkest parts about the first half, and then I alternate going back and forth so that when I get to the point where they're blending, all the paint is still slightly moist when I'm blending, when I'm dry brushing on the next stage, so it bonds up easier. So you get less of very abrupt transitions. You have to go super fast, and you have to do it in very specific orders. And so I'm just
almost
back and
wet blending.
Yeah, I'm just
sport dry brushing.
Yeah, just panting heavily. We can go next one.
Okay.
And then I also, we'll talk about this when we get into talk about getting out of rut or whatever, but I also painted up an entire Solar Auxilia Astra Militarum to very basic tabletop standard for demos at the store. that was super fun, painting little baby miniatures. That's a Titan in the back. So that is a Warhound Titan that is slightly smaller than a Redemptor Dreadnought.
Man.
Interesting.
And then I've been painting a bunch of you can keep going. We've been painting a bunch of furniture for HeroQuest. So my family got me a HeroQuest 10th anniversary or 30th, whatever, 50th anniversary game, whatever it is. And what's cool is the original HeroQuest was plastic. I mean, it was cardboard. All the cutouts were cardboard. These are all like a pretty flexible plastic. So I've been painting. I needed a little break from other things. And I didn't know what army I'm playing yet. So I've been painting like doors and little desks. I think there's some more pictures. Yeah, there's a fireplace. Again, almost all of this is dry brushing too, but a little less delicate, but still. And then like this little, I really love the Vallejo fluorescent paints, which is what I use to create that like pattern coming off the cursed door on this thing.
Well, this is part of the game. This thing?
No, this is part of this is more terrain for.
Okay, gotcha.
Which is a different set, but I'm doing each one in a theme. So this is like I went like Skyrim, but with like a curse, like a cursed outpost. So I'm going to have all the doors radiating this like blue, green, yellow, fluorescent, like corruption.
Okay. If it's Skyrim themed, is there going to be a little courier guy that runs up to your, like, at an objective doing an action? Oh,
dude, I really thought I really considered on the melty one. If I wasn't so inspired to the fire one, I really considered doing like wanting to do like a city streets one where like model a little guy like passed out on like against the wall and like have some like graffiti about like the end is nigh with some like GSC logos, but I haven't done it yet.
All right.
And these were some characters for a game my kids we got my kids for Christmas, these tiny little woodland creatures. So I've never really painted by volumes like that style. I've never really done that style. So I'm trying to do that style with both my HeroQuest models that I'm doing, as well as these game models. So, I did the whole thing in black. I sketched out where all the colors and volumes are with white and gray. And then I went over those with really translucent paint, and then build the paint up over time to create natural shadows. So I've got like the non-metallic gold on the mouse, and the colors and stuff on all the different guys. The little pink bunny rogue. There's a raccoon bard, a mouse knight, and a hedgehog wizard, and then a dragon that rampages. The game has a dragon that's on a rampage. You have to like put the dragon back to sleep by like doing a ritual basically, and the dragon's just rampaging across the table, like running over people and stuff.
What game is this called?
It's called Magic Encounter or Magical Encounters. It's actually really cool. It's like Baby HeroQuest.
Awesome.
And I think that's probably it. I don't think I've painted anything else. Oh yeah, there we're on a cast.
So yeah, I've been very busy with Warhammer, with life, with work, but I've been chipping away on these 9 Inceptors that are still in my list post nerf. So I kind of slowed down, leading up to the nerf, because I was like, it's gonna be bad.
Only 9? I thought you hit with 15.
Oh, I have 6 that are already painted.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so these are the 9 that I had battle readied for LVO. I'm kind of just working through what I can, because I've got quite a lot of commissions on the docket. And actually, on the theme of starting new things, I am very excited about this Custodes commission that I'm starting to kind of shift resources towards doing. It's for a buddy of mine who is also like a really good artist himself. So I was kind of honored that he, wanted an entire Custodes army done by me. It's going to be Solar Watch colors. And it's going to be my first time doing white at an army scale. So I've been looking at different ways to paint that. And actually, I more or less am copying the White Scars theme that my painting teacher, BB Miniatures on Instagram, has done for his White Scars. And it starts off with like a dark green and kind of works up into an ivory. So really excited to kind of give that a shot, see how that turns out. I start my commissions off with kind of like testing one model, getting it to a point where I'm happy, and then sending pictures for approval. So I'll let you guys know if my client approves them, and hopefully by next show I will have the photos of said test model, if nothing else.
Do they have like silencers coming out of their guns? What are those like long lines?
Noah knows exactly what those are, because Noah is a man of class and taste. Those are
those are I love it. Those are Deadly Print Studios blast effects for a muzzle flare.
Yeah, so
they're gonna be all lit up orange and yellow and
very bright, and giving me an excuse to kind of add some color to the highlights that are going to be around it too.
It also breaks up. It also adds like wow factor, because like you have a very clean presented army, which I think sometimes less sophisticated judges are going to like, oh, it's clean, moving on. And I think adding things like the combat effects also introduce an entire different color palette, because your army doesn't use a bunch of like oranges and yellows and that kind of stuff. And so you get to just like introduce a whole nother range of colors you're not touching. And that does draw the eye a lot.
Totally.
Also, the Inceptors are like the perfect model for it, because with your like red shoulder, if you do one blast on each gun, and then the opposing shoulder pad has a color, like a squad marking or an insignia of a color other than blue, and then you've got the eyes on you actually make that 3-point triangle, like from almost any angle you're looking at, which draws them right into the middle of the model.
Totally. And that's where, if you notice, like even on my blue, that's the areas that I'm highlighting the most.
Yeah.
Is the face and that chest, because I'm drawing the eye towards it. So very, very good point. It's going to have that sort of visual triangle that just draws you in even more.
Like, don't look at the ankles. I didn't paint the ankles.
Oh, I paint them. Just
I know.
Not nearly as high.
A true man of class paints ankles.
It's true. Yeah, I had a good friend of mine be like, he's got this incredible orc army. We're gonna have him on at some point, and we're gonna showcase this. But my friend Clayton has this amazing converted orc army. Like, I can't even begin to describe the stompas in this thing. It's not like, unfortunately, it's not a very good.
I don't know that S word you just used.
Yeah, I know. I saw you die a little inside.
Not be spoken of.
But Clayton's got this amazingly gorgeous army, and he's gonna kill me for this. But he's like, "Don't look at the boots. I hate painting the boots." So yeah, a lot of people, and I think that's where people kind of just like stop caring. It's like they get to the bottom.
Dude, one of my favorite things was like, I saw this really amazingly painted guard army that was done in like all like wet blended non-metallic metals across like an entire armored company. Right? Wow. It was amazing. And I picked it up and the bottoms weren't painted.
Of the tanks?
Yeah, of the tanks. The bottom of the tanks were flat gray.
Oh, we like didn't even prime it. I was gonna say I don't usually paint the underside of tanks, but I at least prime them. I have 2 comments about this picture, Cass.
Yeah.
Not with the models themselves, but the fact that you have how many painting handles?
Oh, I have more than what's there.
That's insane.
What can I say? I like the feel.
I've never even used one of those before, but man.
You know why? So I'll be candid. As I was getting older, I started realizing, like, after a painting session, it was never my right hand where I'm holding my brush. I'm right-handed. It was never my right hand that was hurting. It was the left hand, and it would start like doing this death claw cramp.
Yeah, handles must have.
That's what we're talking about. And so I was like, you know what? Let's try this.
Also, you avoid. I can't put it on here, but you avoid painter's thumb with handles.
This is true. I'm good.
My very favorite thing is on a bunch of my Instagram and like Facebook posts for friends. They'll be like, "I think you missed a spot of paint on your left hand." Shit.
The handles are clutch, and once I used one and realized, like, oh shit, my hand isn't just in this death locked cramp. I think I got 10 of the old style ones, and I want to say I have 6 of the new style ones. And yeah, no, I like them because, like,
Ow.
the new style ones especially, you can hold them upside down really easily, and literally half the time I'm painting upside down because you can just get better angles and all that. I normally, with these guys, I wouldn't be painting them glued to the stands, but I've gone to too many tournaments with them out already. Like, I needed to. I was trying to blue tack them for a while, and it was not good. So I just
you also have the same like air filter box, spray box that I have. I see you still have the blue filter on the back though.
I do. I
just yanked that thing off. We're just going bear fan, buddy.
Well, I guess I could bear fan it because I do have it when I'm painting. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, you can kind of see it in the corner there. There it is. I will actually stick that thing out the window and vent it properly. So,
oh, man.
I do live in Vancouver, which is not real Canada weather. So, works
Mhm.
well for me.
All right. Here's what I got going on.
Ooh.
Boom.
Oh, I love that color scheme, dude.
That's amazing. Good job. For those listening at home, we have a wonderfully executed white, some sweet purple and pink fading into pink, and some bright green swords. Green power weapons is probably my favorite thing.
Tasty.
All of my power weapons end up being green. Is that Tesseract Glow on there? Is there Tesseract Glow on those swords?
Nope. It's Necrotite Green from Privateer Press.
Okay. Have you ever used the Tesseract Glow glaze from GW?
No, I didn't even realize they still made their glazes.
So you paint. It's a technically a technical paint. You paint your sword just like it is, right? Just exactly like it is right now. Then you go get your Tesseract Glow. You get a very thin coat. And you do a single thin coat over the entire weapon that is green, and it will make that shit glow like literally it is lit up when it's destroyed. You will literally believe it is a light source from the other side of the room.
Yeah. Man, am I pretty jacked about Drukari right now. So
Have you played them?
I played. What's that?
Have you played a game with them since the data slate?
I played part of a game.
Did you destroy them?
No, we didn't get that very far. We had to stop. But yeah, man, I'm super jacked about this. Just with them getting the extra AP and the lance keyword on the charge, like when they disembark from a transport. Ooh, that is what I'm talking about. So 30 incubi are in the mix here. This is 20 out of 30. I had 15 already. So
you're running a list with 30 incubi. You're
yeah. Yeah, dude, you put an Archon in the unit and they get full. Well, then if you empower,
didn't they have a problem with their keywords?
Yes,
previously,
they did.
There was something wrong with their
yes,
keywords.
Archons could not lead the unit, but they can now.
What?
Yeah, they just weren't.
Which
one
they're,
of the options
I mean,
to lead.
They're literally supposed to be the bodyguards.
I know.
For the Archons. So I mean,
truth, Joe.
Yeah. So yeah, 30 incubi, and then when an Archon leads them, and if the unit is empowered with power from pain, they get full hit and wound rerolls. That coupled with AP3, 2 damage with lance. Woo.
What's the strength on the weapon normally? Please say 7.
4.
Okay.
So still, I mean, like 10 dudes with full hit and wound rerolls. Yeah, the 5s with the full rerolls. I mean, they're still taking down a big boy knight. They're doing like 28 wounds to him. So I mean,
that's pretty good.
Joe, talk to me about this white. It is very gorgeous.
Oh, this is my secret sauce on the white, man.
Cass was just saying how he's about to paint white.
I know, I was biting my tongue.
You didn't say anything. You just let him hang himself, and then you were like, boom, what?
Yeah. Like, what the fuck is this?
So it's actually, let me get it here. I don't know if you can see this color. Somber gray.
Oh, I love somber gray.
Yeah, somber gray. It's kind of like a purplish gray.
Yeah, it's
So
got them blue tones in it.
Yeah, and then
You have it? You have it, Cass?
I don't have it. I have some game color grays.
I have bottles at the store. I will put them in a bag.
and then man, you just got to be real careful. You just got to kind of feather. This color is like one of my favorite, like off whites. It's called Frostbite. It's like a bluish white.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of feather it on there, man, and wow, it just comes alive. And then just do a little edge highlighting with some dead white.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Yep.
Dude, this is a very strong white with like no actual pure whites, which I think is amazing. And I don't know, Cass, obviously you're like testing things, but like that with that color with gold, with the Solar Watch gold, like, dude.
Well, this is a very cool white, obviously. So I don't know. With the Solar Watch, they might want a more warm white to go with the gold armor.
Like an eggshell. Let's go.
I don't know. Do you have a recipe picked out already?
I do. It's actually most of the paints arrived today. I'm trying it out because it's I'm literally just stealing the recipe. So from my good friend BD Miniatures. So the base coat is actually Deep Forest Skin, which is a Vallejo color that you can only get in a set that I just bought.
Oh,
and then
set locked.
Oh, my buddy.
Cruel and unusual.
Cool, and I have a lot of busts that I've wanted to paint with like moody lighting. So this actually showed up today. So it's the Malefic Flush set. So it starts out with a really deep green, basically. That's almost grayish. Then AK dark green gray, and then faded green and ivory. And like the photos of his white scars, you would never guess that it's green in the shadows. But what I wanted to avoid was I find that with your typical sort of gray only whites that a lot of people do, yours obviously has some bluishness, and it almost picks up on those purple tones, which is why it's so it's such a lovely white on these guys. What I wanted to avoid was just the neutral gray, because I find that kind of makes things look old, kind of makes things look a bit shabby. But with the green, I'm hoping for it to be a little bit smoother. We'll see. I might do two versions.
Dude, Joe, it's kind of like you didn't do it the mother color way, but you almost like picked blue as your mother color for the whole model, but you don't actually see any blue, right? But like purple, right, is a derivative of blue. Green, right, is a derivative of blue. The white you used the gray you used has a little blue in it. The white you used has a little blue in it. So you basically used the concept of like the mother color. And for people listening, if you're not familiar, mother color is the idea of taking a little bit of usually one of the primary colors, but one of the colors, and mixing it a little bit in it to basically almost all of the paints that you do on a given model. So even if the colors are drastically different, there are tones that unite the whole model because they're all using some amount. Like there's, let's say, a little blue tone in every color that's present. And it does a lot for setting environmental tone and making the model look alive, making the model look really smooth to look at. Like this is a very smooth appearance. And the fact that you select all your colors, other than maybe your edge highlight, were literally all blue mother colored, is pretty amazing.
I would attribute that to a blind squirrel occasionally finds a nut.
Yeah, that's good. It's a cool thing. Like I was going to talk about, at some point the three of us should paint a model or a group of models, and we should like roll on the chart and each get one of the primary colors, and then go and do like limited palette mother color style and paint up a model and then talk about that application on one of the shows.
That sounds like a cool idea.
Yeah, it'll be fun. This is really great, man. These look amazing. This is going to crush on Hobby Track for sure.
I hope so. But...
Oh, yeah, it's going to annihilate people, man. If the whole army looks like this, oh my god.
No, the rest of the army is kind of they're just the purple color. So it's just
these guys are like unique.
Yeah, because they're the bodyguards, and they're not supposed to be part of the cabal. They're
Correct.
They're like aspect warriors, kind of, for the Drukhari, but they're like mercenaries that the Archon hires as like non-political bodyguards to protect him. So
cool.
Yeah.
As always, our obligatory plug for Cascade Clash. There's a lot going on, moving parts as we get closer. We're up to 81 people right now. And I have it on good authority that there's 9 to 10 coming still, that for sure. And then one of my veteran TO friends told me that there is almost always a last minute surge a week or so before list cutoff. So I thought this event really wasn't going to even crest at 60, even though it was like a 150 cap, and we're looking at potentially capping out now. So life is good and also totally insane.
That's really impressive because I feel like most tournaments, like for the first year, usually kind of fall way below the mark that they set out for. But you are doing the complete opposite.
Well, I'm not going to take credit for it. Here's what I'm going to attribute it to. And so if any of the wonderful people from the Northwest or people that I know are listening to this, understand that this is for y'all, because Team Aegis is pretty active in the Northwest and the general tournament circuit across the country. Me and at least 1 or 2 other people usually will fly to a bunch of different events, and we try to attend all of the major events in the Northwest with some amount of our members. We try to help everybody out as much as we can by, lending terrain or table mats or resources of whatever kind. We're pretty involved and we're pretty connected. And it doesn't hurt that a lot of Team Aegis people have won best overalls at a lot of the major events in the Pacific Northwest. So we've gotten really close with a lot of the TOs as well. And we're also members of a TO organization that spans like most of the Northwest. And so because I say all this to say this is that the reason we have so many people is not because of anything like any like marketing or like that we're offering anything really amazing other than we're doing cash prizes. It's because we literally spent the last like 4 years like building strong connections to the community and making friends. And when we told these people who we have become friends with that we were going to do an event, everyone's like, let's go. Right? Because we're traditionally good hobbyists, good sportsmen. And so what this is this attendance is purely an expression of being a good community member. And that's all this is. This is karma coming back to us. And so, that's a thank you to the community. So we just need to not mess it up.
Awesome. And what events are being played there?
So there'll be a CDH event, so competitive commander for Magic. There'll be a Friday RCQ for Magic. So if you're a Magic tournament grinder also, that you can come and try to get an RCQ slot. Then there's also going to be a Canadian Highlander tournament on Sunday. There'll be a War Machine tournament on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. The teams is on Friday, doubles is on Friday, and then singles is on Saturday, Sunday. There'll be a Lord of the Rings tournament most likely.
What?
Yeah, we have a pretty good Lord of the Rings league in the Northwest. And there'll be a 2-day Malifaux event because we have an incredibly strong knot of highly placed competitive Malifaux players in our area. So, and I think it's also, this tournament is also a qualifier for some of the bigger tournaments in Malifaux as well. And then we have 40K. We have a 40K RTT on Friday. And we have a 2-day 150-person cap 6-round event on Saturday, Sunday. And if you pay for the 2-day event, you get the Friday event for free. And then also, if you want to get a leg up on it, we'll do your paint judging for the Friday, Saturday event on Friday, or the Saturday, Sunday event on Friday. If you want to get the early bird, provided you have the same armies with you.
Yeah, awesome. I wish I was able to attend.
I wish you were too, man. I really wish you could come out.
iPad around and just be on a video call with you. Like I'm gonna carry you around.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
yeah, I have to do that.
We can make a cardboard cutout Joe.
Oh man, you can make a robot and have
Dude,
A
there is
Joe
Wi-Fi.
bot. I
yeah,
have
a
not
Joe
had
bot.
All right, Joe, we're doing we're gonna
We're
just
doing this.
All right,
we're
the
gonna
Joe
just
bot.
stream. Oh, that's the other thing though, is I don't know if we'll pull it off. We're gonna try to stream something. And so you could just like remote in and commentate on streaming.
All right.
Let's go. So I guess this is probably a good segue. So we were going to talk about a couple subjects.
Yeah.
We're already like 30 minutes in, so we might as well pick one and double down. So do we want to talk about painting to a, or should we just touch on this and then go to the painting on the rubric? Or do you want
Yeah.
I think let's cover this, and you know what? We can do that for next show too.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I know
All right,
we're
so-
excited about it because we're making the rubric right now. But
Yeah.
we're both painting nerds. We're still going to be excited about it.
Okay, cool. So the next hobby episode we'll talk about painting to a rubric. This is kind of near and dear to my heart because with the new year and the new data slate, I'm pretty lost currently on what I'm going to play. I'm supporting some teams this year, and I'm also playing singles. And then I'm planning for an event right now, so my brain is in a million different places. And so I really couldn't get motivated about hobbying an army. And I'm not really currently like really interested in playing any army other than kind of I'm peaked on Votan, but we'll see how that goes. So I was thinking about how do I get myself out of a rut, because painting is a way that I relax. Do y'all find painting relaxing, or are y'all the guys who just stress out about your painting?
Yes.
I stress out about my painting big time. Probably too much.
Honestly, I find it can, like I half jokingly said both, but honestly, both. Because sometimes I am trying to achieve something that is far beyond my comfort zone, my skill level. That's how you grow, but I find that stressful. But then sometimes when you just kind of let go and just magic happens, it's relaxing. So
for you, Joe, Cass, you know that I'm pretty like organized when I need to be, but I'm also just chaos incarnate.
you are the definition of organized chaos, I would say, actually.
And when I'm hobbying, all of the organization goes out the window, and I just become like little like toddler Noah. Like I'm just like beep, boop, bop, 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 like talking to myself and painting, and I literally lose all stress. Like I just like discontinue being an adult for the period of time while I'm painting, and I'm just like a little kid having fun, and then something comes out of it. But I had kind of felt like I lost a little bit of that because I'd been hobby grinding, painting 115 AdMech models.
Yeah.
So I was like a little fried. And so I wanted us to talk today about doing something new that isn't in line with what you normally do, whether that's the type of painting you do or whatever, how that can help you get out of a rut and also explore different techniques and approaches in hobby. Have either y'all done this before, like done something maybe like related to painting or a different painting technique to like break up the monotony, or like paint a bust instead of doing a model or whatever?
100%. I call it a palette cleanser.
Okay.
Oftentimes, for me, it'll be something. I usually burn out for the same reason you just kind of stated, which is I've been grinding an army. I had an event coming up. This hasn't. I'm proud to say I haven't been doing this over the last year, but before I was notorious for like just staying up till 5 a.m. for like 8 nights in a row leading up to an event. So when you burnt yourself out like that, and then you come back and you don't want to paint at all. For me, it was like the last time I did a palette cleanser was, I'm going to paint up some terrain. And my good friend Dan Miner makes really cool MDF terrain sets, and I had one of his for a while. And so I was like, I want to try marble. And I did the marble airbrush thing with the what's it called? The like you stretch out the cotton and it
Baby wipes.
Baby wipes, yes, thank you. And so I gave that a try, and that was my palette cleanser. But you absolutely need to just take a step back from like whatever it is that burnt you out,
What about you, Joe?
I usually will just try to stay focused on my task. Occasionally, yeah, with like D&D club going on, I'll have to, paint some random monster or new character for one of the players. So just a little break, but man, I'm usually just like focused on what next event I got coming up. So I just try to, I will sit down and literally make out a schedule. Like I need to paint 2 guys a day, every day this week. And then on this and this on the weekend, I'm going to build the next unit. I'm going to prime and base them on Sunday, and then I need to build 4 of them on this way. So I usually my time frame is pretty scheduled out in the long run. So that's which does cause me to get burnt out quite a bit. Sometimes even to the point where I don't even end up wanting to go to the tournament. I'm so burnt out by the end of it. I'll put
I think it's important. Dude, I honestly, I started putting a moratorium on it. Is if the tournament's on Friday, I do not allow myself to paint past Wednesday, and I just accept the consequences of my actions. If I wanted to win best painted or have a model ready, I would have prioritized my time differently and got it done by the end of Wednesday. And I found that my tournament performance, as well as my general feeling of relaxation at my events, goes up significantly if I haven't hobbied for, like, if I haven't been like breaking my neck to hobby.
I would agree.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I've just been banging on orcs for so long, because it's like, yeah, the Centerpiece painted pretty good and it's ready, and yeah, I don't have to stress out about getting a ton of stuff done for it. So
it's all right. I've got an entire Votan army in plastic.
Oh man.
But yeah, I think me trying to keep up competitively with Ultramarines painted at the level that I paint my models, like that did just burn me out. And I was kind of forced to by starting commissions. It was like, you're not gonna get both done, and you're being paid for this. So you're gonna finish this one. And so it's like it's been a really good sort of life lesson for balance, because I don't know, man, I had a great time at LPO. Like I just had fun, and it was fun kind of popping up next to my friends that do make the showcase and all that, and they're like, where's your stuff? I'm like, oh, I didn't even bother this time. They're like, what, who are you? But it was quite a weight off my shoulders, just being able to, like, kind of what you said. I mean, because I was off for a work trip as well, like I kind of had to accept that, like, oh, like a week before LVO is my painting cutoff, and whatever I get done is what I get done.
Yeah, man, I think that's the way. But so let's talk about like some things you can do to, like, as a palette cleanser. I got 3 that I'll throw out there. One is I've really enjoyed painting up boxed game minis. That's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Playing a board game with painted minis is much, and I feel like I might have like created a core memory for my children because I painted up those minis for their game, and then we played with those minis. Came as like just like a blank, like each was a pure of one color, right?
Yeah.
Painted them up, and they were like, even my 21-year-old who's playing with us was like, man, this game is way more fun when the miniatures are painted. Right. So that's now that's a thing. Now the problem is that every game that we get that has miniatures in it, my kids are not interested in playing them as much until I paint the models. So that's the thing. And then the other is just like picking a technique that I haven't done before. So I've not ever really been someone who paints by volumes effectively. I've struggled with non-metallic metals. I pull them off, but they're still like very much a struggle. So I just started basically like fumbling my way through painting by volumes on basically all the box game miniatures, because I'm not doing it across an entire army. Once I get better at it, maybe I'll do it across an entire army, but like doing it on like a smaller subset of miniatures has been nice, especially things that are like broken up, and also things that are like there's not a risk. Like if this box miniature is messed up, like it's not going to impact my paint score or something.
Mm.
And then the last one is colored pencils.
What?
Yeah, dude. So I'll show you some pictures sometimes. I have I have a bunch of colored pencils and blenders for colored pencils. And what I do is I find a coloring book, or I have this journal that also has a bunch of Tolkien style scribble like pictures in the margins. And I literally just like I color with colored pencils as if I was painting a model. So like I try to do like blends and create shadow and highlights and all of those things. And there's like some blending material, like a moisture, like a fluid that you add to the end of a little thing, and it actually reactivates the color of the pencils, and you can do blending where your colors go over. So you can actually make smooth blends that look almost like you painted it. So I got into colored pencils as like a way to basically do painting and experiment with lighting and colors and composition without having to do it on a model. And so I could do it like while I'm, sitting at a coffee shop, or I'm, on an airplane, or, whatever. And that has been a really nice, because it's fun. Like I've been doing like, DC superheroes and that kind of stuff. And I found that it improved my quality of paint significantly. What about you? What are some other options?
I have a bunch of drawing books and I have a tablet, so sometimes I will just sit down and try to learn anew, like how to paint a tentacle or how to paint stone walls. It's just like it's kind of for like drawing comic books, but yeah, I'll just sit there and do that.
That's cool.
Try to freehand it on the tablet. That is until my kids hijacked my tablet, so it's not really mine anymore, unfortunately.
Curse of being a dad.
Usually covered in some sort of disgusting sticky substance.
Okay. We're gonna take a dad sideline story real quick, off to the left field. So today, my 21-year-old, who has the dietary requirements of like a 6-year-old, like chicken nuggets, French fries, white bread, that kind of thing, right? She was making a peanut butter and honey sandwich, and she likes the cheapest, most like off the shelf generic peanut butter. But we had did a shopping order, and they had gotten us organic peanut butter.
Oh.
And the consistency of organic peanut butter to regular to is like soup to like clay, right? Like it's that difference. And she's getting really frustrated. She's churning it, trying to make it thicker, with a butter knife. She's getting really upset. And I'm watching her struggle, and I'm opening an ice cream sandwich. And then I just dumped it in her peanut butter.
Wow.
She looks
Troll dad.
She looks at me and she had this moment. First it was how dare you? And then it was I had committed a war crime. This is disgusting that you dumped something. And then it was a realization that that's peanut butter and I'm holding a chocolate and vanilla ice cream sandwich. And the understanding that that's probably amazing. Then it was betrayal that she had. Can he do that? Is that illegal?
I hope she called the police.
Yeah. Well, she told my wife. That's close enough.
That's basically the same thing.
As far as peanut butter goes, are we going creamy or chunky?
I'm a garbage disposal. I'm an equal opportunity eater of food.
Oh, and what did you say, Cass?
I like creamy. I like non-organic garbage peanut butter. That's what.
All right.
Yeah, I was also a lot of people are blueback mac and cheese people too, but currently apparently there's some debacle about the cleanliness of the blue box mac and cheese production. So a lot of people have ship. Yeah, apparently they only clean the thing that makes the dough for the noodles that come in the Kraft macaroni and cheese. They only clean that thing once every couple of months when it's supposed to be every other week. Apparently had grown a lot of mold cultures and was incredibly out of food standards.
Those are probiotics. Okay, that's good.
Anyway, we're digressing into food. What about you, Cass? What's the chosen palate cleanser?
I want to say macaroni art, but that's not true.
That'd be sweet.
No, I think for me, if I'm really burnt out from painting, I just sketch. I draw. That actually I think, my parents love to remind me that, like, when I was a little ADHD child running around, like, the only time that I would just get really focused and zoned in, they would like put a gigantic piece of paper. My uncle worked at the library, so he'd bring these giant reams of paper. My dad would like cut it off and like tape it to the coffee table, and they'd just give me a pencil and I'd just draw. And so, like, for me, and it's probably why I'm good at freehanding, to be honest. I'll just kind of aimlessly sketch and doodle, and it can be anything. Like, there's notepads. Actually, literally, this is my work desk too, but this just happened to be here. I did a commission of the lion, and I just sketched kind of what I wanted on the back of his cloak. And
That's
if
cool.
you go and look, it's actually not far off of what I ended up doing. But a lot of times it's just kind of doing something creative, because I find if I completely, sometimes you need a break. Sometimes you just need to take a week. But if I'm still doing something creative, it keeps the juices flowing. Sometimes I even like painting a canvas. So just changing the medium can do a lot. And then
what did you say? Painting a campus?
Canvas.
Canvas.
Canvas. Okay.
Just a normal.
I agree that changing a medium goes a long way.
Yeah, and I do find you can pick stuff up from doing that, because I have seen a lot of people who are very artistic paint their first miniature and have like a mental breakdown. Because
I feel like
it's
actually artists have it the hardest.
totally real artists that like do amazing stuff on a 2D canvas. You give them a 3D canvas where you do not get to define the object, and their brain melts, because you paint it and then there goes all of the volume, so you have to like repaint the volume. So that's the problem going from a 2D art form to a 3D art form. We're going from a 3D art form to a 2D art form. So it's about, how do I create volumes out of nothing, right? And so, because
where's my shadow?
Exactly. And like, as painters, we're used to kind of carving out that sharpness of the volume, i.e. edge highlighting, right? You're drawing kind of the boundaries of what some material is, etc. But when you're doing that in 2D, it's a very different exercise. But by doing that and kind of getting that mental exercise helps when you are building those volumes on an actual model as well, because you know what it's supposed to look like 2D, and you can use a lot of the same techniques and tricks to kind of fill out that sort of that illusion of volume that you would get painting on a canvas, but you kind of tack that onto something 3D, and all of a sudden it's even more contrastful and vibrant and pops out more. So that's kind of like, I like to give my brain that as an exercise every now and then, whether it's sketching or painting or what have you. But I do find sometimes you just need a break. It is as simple as that. Like, if I come and I sit at that desk and I'm feeling negative about sitting there, I will get up and go do something else.
100%. Yeah, I feel like that ultimately, I think that's something that happens in 40K and a lot of games, and in painting, a hobby, is people lose track of what is important, of why they started in the first place. I was talking to my wife recently and said that, like, I don't think humans were meant to be famous. I think humans, like, if you go back to, like, in history, right? The original success, the reason humans were originally successful at existing was we bonded together as communities. We had all these different people, some people were hunting, some people were gathering, some people were cooking, people were repairing, people, everyone was doing their job and collectively living together in a communal setting, taking care of each other. And for anybody with children, you will also know that having family members who you are aligned with on parenting strategy around makes your life with your children much easier, right? So like I think it like lines out. But like we've gotten to the point where people, have gone really good at things and kind of gone off on their own. Like I am the most important main character, and therefore, I get all the attention. And then when people become well known for those things, or there's an expected level of success, there's an assumed level of expertise. It can like break their personal paradigm and reality if they're not achieving what they're supposed to achieve, right? Or if they're not getting the accolades they're supposed to get. I for me and Casper at WCW, right? And there were people who had never lost a first round game in like five or 6 years, right? Because they were used to
Wow.
winning events, right? Well, we're in a room with 100 and something of the best players in the entire world, right?
Yeah.
Only people who have won major events. Period. End of story. Only, right? Or at least best overall. And those people are the only people in the room, right? And because you're playing an event and that it's binary results, it's not every game is going to tie. So of course, you're going to play, and half of the room is going to lose their first round, right? And there are people who haven't lost a day one round in years. Nassim from the UK, he was like mind blown. He's like, "This is the worst I've done an event in forever." Right? Like,
Yeah.
And he's
He
like,
had this dead-eyed stare for the rest of the weekend.
He won a Decepticon, didn't he? Like,
yeah, I know it seems a beast. There's no he's one of the top players in the ITC last year. Like the guy is really good at this game, but we are all human, and we're gonna lose. And it was a room full of the top level players in the world.
So to reference Mike Brandt, right? He gives that speech at the beginning of every event. And hey, only one of you is going to win all of your games. And most of you aren't even going to win half of your games, right? And the most important thing is not whether you win or lose, but since you're going to spend 3 days in here, you might as well make some relationships and have fun, because that is the most important thing to happen. And it's true. I think we lose track of that as competitive players, lose track of that as commission painters, we lose track of that as people who are looked at and seen as being, achievers of excellence. We lose track of the fact that like the reason we picked up the brush in the first place was because it was fun to, well, some of us was because we had to paint a model to play a game, but it was to play the game, and the game was fun. We received dopamine for playing, right? We got the dopamine high when we played, and we got so caught up on it that we wanted to continue doing it, even though it involved standing by a table for 8 hours a day for 3 days straight, when we're all, at least the three of us, are old enough that is a significant physical detriment. Joe is probably more acclimated to it than the rest of us because of his vocation. But other than that, like it's
an impressive fitness level.
Yeah. And so like what I'm saying is it just comes down to like if you're playing a game of 40K and you're salty as shit, you shouldn't be playing. If you're painting and you're mad about painting, just put the brush down, bro, and walk away.
I walk away. And you know what? I think especially around painting, because I mean playing the game is very objective. You won, you lost, you scored some points, you didn't score others. Painting can be tough. And we try to build rubrics that are fair and whatnot, but no matter how objective we try to make it, there is always going to be some level of subjectivity in paint judging.
Of course.
And I'm not like I've had disappointments with painting.
Yeah.
It's part of why I didn't try too hard to paint for LVO this year, because last year I was really upset because I didn't make showcase. That was fine. But what really made me upset was when I read my feedback. It said, my OSL details and freehanding was lacking. And I know that objectively that's not true. So that really upset me. And it set me spiraling, and I was pissed for a while. And I was just like, I went outside and I did a thing that's legal in Nevada and also all of Canada. And I relaxed a little bit, and I just kind of let it go, and I had a much better weekend for it, right? And I think
Played some video games.
played some video games. That was this year. This year I was like I was fully expecting nothing. I didn't even I was just coming to have a good time. But that was last year, and that was part of what informed me. You know what? Like, yes, there was different judges this year, and I think I may not have made showcase because it's a very competitive event, but I wouldn't have gotten dinged points for things that were categorically false. But I think sometimes you got to take a step back from it. And I think I took a bit of a break from the competitive painting side of things last year. And that's what opened up the room to do commissions and try painting stuff that aren't miniatures I need for my game. And that can just do a lot to help you kind of grow as an artist. But at the same time, it gives you a little bit of perspective when you see your friends that are those competitive painters kind of getting really upset or taking things really personally when they don't make it. Yeah, at the end of the day, you have to remember, especially with painting, there's always some subjectivity to it. You're never going to please every judge, and you can only do your best. Frankly, if you are at a tournament and you make a showcase, you've won. Like, your painting is to a phenomenal level, especially at an army scale. And that's with that level and winning a few games, you can achieve best overall. And I think that's why I'm drawn to that as the achievement, right? It's that happy middle ground where you don't have to grind everything into one facet of the hobby.
For sure. I 100% agree. I feel like that you captured it better than anything I could have said. What about you, Joe? Final thoughts?
Yeah. You guys, it's conversations like these that just remind me I'm the dumbest person in the room. So said. Well said.
Get out of here, Joe.
I'm going to sing Joe's praises here because Joe, you're very humble and you're very. I have basically even though you have expressed to me that you like to win and you're trying to be excellent while you're painting, and so they can stress you out. When you don't really hear that out of a person, you expect the person to also not be humble, right? You expect the person to be kind of a salty, I'm trying to be the best kind of person.
Dick is what
for sure. But you're one of the few people I've met who have that mentality of pushing for excellence without ever making it anyone else's problem, right? You never shit on somebody else because you couldn't achieve your goal or whatever. It's just, hey, that happened, we're moving on. I would probably argue it's because you've been through some things in your life that probably give you significant perspective on what is and is not important. I believe I have gone through similar events in my military career. So I think we're kind of on the same page. And I think that's really awesome of you because I think you have way more to contribute to this conversation than sometimes you will chime in. And I think that's because you are so okay with being the absorber and the learner. One of these days, I'm just going to put you on the spot and ask you questions for the entire.
Oh. Well, thank you for that. That was a very nice compliment.
Yeah, man, for sure. Well, do we have anything else we want to talk
about? Do you guys have any other events coming up in between now and Cascade?
Me and Cass are both hoping for the wait list for tabletops. Mid-table
tactics.
Yeah.
So mid-table tactics, an awesome local team and great streaming YouTube channel that I am sometimes lucky enough to be on. They host Heroes of the Mid-Table. I want to say 2 or 3 times a year they have a GT. Great GT, great group of guys. And yeah, I myself and Noah are both on the wait list. So don't worry, I was bugging Mike about that. Just making sure we're still on there. But if not that, I do have an RTT this Saturday where I get to kind of continue on with the list that we played on Sunday and get some reps in. Beyond that, I have my Team Canada internal scrims. We have an external scrim coming up with Northern Ireland, which is gonna be really fun.
Oh, nice.
So, Yeah, I am. I live on TTS these days, but that's why I like the RTTs. I'm like, get me in person. Let me push my actual models around because that's what I prefer. But that's me.
Yeah, I don't. We have a RTT Aegis next Saturday. I probably won't play. I think we're capped actually. So.
Oh, I don't have my passport.
That's right.
I'm rushing to get it renewed so that I can make it for Clash.
Do they
You
have?
better not be down, bro.
Oh, I'm not gonna lay down.
Can you get like an enhanced license or like a Nexus card? I don't know if that's reciprocal.
The Nexus card, you still need your passport. You still need your
Ah,
passport.
okay. I just got like an endorsement on my driver's license that just acts like a passport, but that might just be a Michigan thing. So I don't know.
Yeah. No. The United States of America is surprisingly guarded about their borders.
Ooh,
I
touchy
need
subject.
I need documentation. I meant the northern one. I was not.
Unless you're a citizen, I've talked to some people that like going into Canada. I talked to a friend who moved to Canada for a job, and when he moved to Canada for the job, they he spent like multiple hours at the border. He was grilled. How long are you staying? Where's your endorsements? All the paperwork. Pulled aside. On his way back in, he's got a car full of stuff. Right, like this car is packed with items from left to right. Like it's completely full, and it's a car with Canadian plates. Like he's driving a Canadian car, and he comes to the freaking thing, and he's like, they're like, what was the purpose of your visit? Like, I was here working for a job. Okay, welcome home. And just let him in. No questions asked, no seizure, no searching, nothing at all. Just welcome home.
I had a very similar experience coming back from Canada, and I pull up. Yeah, the guy asked me what were you doing in Canada? I was like, oh, I was playing at a Warhammer tournament. Okay. I was like, oh, don't you want to see my license? Nah, you're good. Okay.
My favorite was coming back. So going back into Canada, and it was me and Liam. We're driving back together, and they're like, "So what was the purpose of your visit? Warhammer tournament. Awesome. What factions do you play?" We're like,
oh hell yeah,
Ultramarines and Necrons. Like that's when you're good. You're golden.
Oh, dude, that's like I was on the plane. I got off the plane in San Diego on the way to, or not San Diego, maybe I don't know. I was going to SoCal, wherever SoCal is, LA maybe. And I got off the plane, and this pilot starts walking up to me like aggressively around the tarmac, and he's like beelining for me. And I don't see him until I look over my shoulder, and he's like coming at me, and I'm like, what the heck? And he walks up to me and just grabs my shoulder, and I'm in like a Imperial Fist like sweatsuit onesie basically. And he grabs my shoulder and he goes, "The Emperor protects," and just walks away.
Wow.
And I was like, yes, he does.
If you were that pilot, we want you on the show.
Yeah, at 100%.
Yeah, standing
Remember,
you are
Batman and a Crimson Fist hoodie saying "Emperor protects." Come to a meeting. All right, man. Well, that's it. We love y'all. That's our show. Happy hobbying, and we'll see you in a little while. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.